Hey everybody, Josh from Populi here, and it's time to get tough. Sometimes you gotta put a lock on a student profile. Locks prevent students from accessing certain parts of Populi until they are lifted. Let's say you have a policy that students with low GPAs cannot self-register for courses. You can apply a lock that prevents them from using their registration tab. This video is directed primarily at academic admins, financial admins, and student billing, but staff and advisors play a small part here as well. Let's say you're an academic admin, one of the roles that has the broadest access to the default locks available in Populi. You can go to a student's profile, and then on the left, you'll see the text, add a lock. Click on that, and you'll get this dialog box. The drop-down at the top tells you which locks you can apply to the student based on the roles you have. You choose the lock, you can enter a reason. This will be visible to the student when they attempt to access the locked part of Populi while logged in. And then you can add any additional information or instructions that anyone who can edit this lock would see. Entering the reason and additional instructions are both optional. Down here, you have the ability to show lock definitions. Click on that and you'll get a rundown of any locks existing on your instance. Let's go over the courses lock as an example. Because advisors have a different angle on student profiles, they don't necessarily need to see extensive detail for all students, but they do for the students to which they've been assigned. Locks have a setting that allows advisors to see locks on only their own advised students. That's what this note at the top here is telling us for each of these locks. Role permissions lists all of the roles who can add or remove the lock. Areas locked shows the parts of Populi to which the student loses access, in this case, courses. You can see the rest of the default definitions right there. Let's save this. Now we can see that there's a lock added, and if I want, I can click on that. This is how I would edit some of the text I entered, make further notes, or remove it. Let's look at this from the student's perspective. I click on one of my current courses over here on Home, and then I have very limited access to this course and this note up at the top. If I click on this, I can see the lock reason. Let's have a real quick look at what this student's advisor with read privileges would see. They can see that the lock exists, and then they can click in and read the note. There you go, shwow, isn't that great? Okay, that's adding student locks to individual accounts. But let's say that you require every freshman to meet with an advisor before they're able to self-enroll. Or let's say that you have a point after the term ends when overdue charges result in your financial team placing a lock on those students. You can lock students en masse. Let's say that you're locking freshmen. If you have the academic admin role, you're able to go to academics, reporting, data slicer, and in this case, we'll use the tag freshman to pull up a list. And then under actions, you can manage locks. So you can add or remove locks there. And before we leave the data slicer, you can also easily pull a report for who has a lock applied. If you use the condition lock type is any, you'll get that list. You also have the ability to lock students from a number of financial tabs. So I'm using a profile with the financial admin role, and I want to apply a lock for everyone who has a balance as of this date. I go to financial, billing, current, and then student balances. And then under actions over there, I can choose manage student locks and add the financial lock. That same role in the same spot can pull up students with various lock types using the filter. We'll remove any unnecessary filters here, click choose a condition, choose the lock type condition, set the correct type, and add. You might also want to add something about current balance to zero in on students who've resolved their balances, and then apply filter. And then you can manage student locks to remove them. One last thing, these locks are supremely customizable by our support team. The locks that you have initially are just the defaults. They can be edited to include other roles with read or write privileges and to lock students out of other sections of Populi. Populi support can also create entirely new locks for you. You define the roles that can read and write, the sections that get locked, all that stuff. You'll request any customizations by sending a support request, which you can do in our help desk or by sending an email to support@populi.co. We have more detail in the knowledge base about adding locks to students, including a whole section about requesting customization. And you'll find that linked below. Do you want to dig deeper and get more value out of Populi for your school? Join our Discord server. It's where Populi users can ask each other questions and capitalize on community knowledge. If you want to become a part of that community, go to Help in Populi and choose Join the User Community. That'll take you to a spot that has instructions about how you can get set up. I've been Josh for Populi. You've been great. Thanks for watching.